This means that we're actually streaming. Now let me tweet it out. This means that we're actually streaming.
Oh, you got a legit comment. That's crazy.
Yeah, man.
What does the comment say?
It's a legit comment about the video. It says she's 26 years old and he's 53. What is he thinking? You gotta find a woman 40 years old who's ready to settle down and not some young bad bitch.
Jesus.
Actual legit. That's crazy.
We got a comment on another video. What is this one? How much patience do you have? The kid on the airplane.
Wait, for real?
Yeah, it's just this was all interesting, haha. But
Okay, good.
legit, yeah.
Because I do like try to respond to comments. Yeah, man. You talking to the infinite void long enough, somebody will eventually hear. Okay, so oh, you know what? I don't know what's showing, but it should be this. That's funny.
You started the stream? Or no?
Yeah. When you guys can you check in on that, see if it looks like it's running and everything looks like it should be proper, and put a comment in real quick. What's showing?
I hear it.
Also, it's been sounding good, so I'm not gonna question it. But Ace, your audio sounds pretty good. Ghost, your audio sounds pretty good. Does my audio sound fine?
Yup.
Yeah.
Good. Actually, you could be a little closer or louder now that I mentioned it, Ghost. But I'm sure that's nothing too. Okay. Anyway, okay, so we're good. So I am going to hit the record. On to the side. I'm gonna hit the record and we're gonna start recording. You guys ready?
Yup.
Yep, ready.
Okay. So start recording. I guess I'll stop that starting soon thing and then go to just chatting. Looks a little scuffed, but you get what you expect. Anyway. Okay, welcome back, guys. Welcome back, everyone. We're back, and we have not all, but most of the guys, the gang, the comrades, the compadres. We got Ace.
What's up?
We got Ghost.
Yo.
And we got myself, Quest Lando. Guys, how are y'all doing? How are y'all feeling?
Pretty good.
Could be worse.
You keep that up. That's gonna be like your what do they call it? Your tagline. But I myself am feeling pretty decent as well. At the time of recording, we're in like the beginning of October. It's about to be autumn, so it's fall season. Things are cooler. You can be a bit more level-headed. Different fairs are going on. I don't know if we'll have time to do a recap of that, Ace, but you know everything's pretty copacetic, but busy. Definitely busy as well. Also, like I mentioned, where it's pretty evident, we are missing one member, one host, and we know there are some West fans out there. Don't worry about him. Don't worry. He's perfectly fine. He's perfectly safe. He's just indefinitely busy. But he's spending time with his family, so he is crystal clear and good. So it's gonna be us three for a while, but we may or may not be having some guest hosts in the near future. So if you're interested in that, stay tuned in, and or we're just interested in hearing from not any and everybody, but yeah, any and everybody, basically. So if you're interested in conversations, podcasting, tap with me at Questlando, both IG and Twitter or X. Okay, but we're here to do a podcast. So before we get into the topics, is there any content recommendations that you guys want to share with the people? Outside of music, of course.
Yeah, I got a couple from once. Two recently, both very good. One, I finished Better Call Saul. I started the first 3 seasons like years ago, and I finally got around to finishing the last 3, and it was pretty fantastic. I don't know if I'd put it on the same level as Breaking Bad. They're very different shows, but yeah, it's good. Watch it. That's without giving away any plot details. Or I guess the one thing I will say is that I'm usually not a fan of prequels in general and stories where you kind of know the ending or end game, but this show does it well enough that I enjoyed that aspect of it. So that's the first rec. Second one, The Bear.
You started
the
watching
first 2 seasons.
we
Yeah, I
watching
think
this together?
Yeah, we watched the first. I think we watched the very first episode, Quest, and then I can't remember why we never finished it. But yeah, I just
finished mad shows.
Yeah, I got a random urge to watch it, and
It's good, ain't it?
yeah, I mean, I knew it was gonna be good, but it's the first season is much different than the second season, but they're both good, kind of for different reasons. But if I had to say one area that the show is truly great at is very realistic and just not fake sounding dialogue. Like, it sounds like the actual characters having like actual conversations and dealing with actual shit. So it's a great show.
That's actually a really good review, and I've heard that criticism of different shows, and surprisingly enough, of video games recently. It's something like you kind of don't inherently notice in a lot of content, but when you hear a conversation that does sound authentic, like this is how people would talk in real life, where people, it's not just like, one person says a statement and then one person has that perfect sounding remark. I think that is a very valid or more shows in video games and content should make sure that they're doing that, because it does make a big difference when the conversation sounds like an IRL conversation. Nice. Is there anything else?
Yeah, I got another show recommendation here. It's Beef. It was premiered on Netflix earlier this year.
The title is just Beef?
Last year. Yeah, it's called Beef. It stars Stephen Yun, aka Glenn from The Walking Dead, and Ali Wong was a comedian I wasn't too familiar with. They play very unhinged, but like realistically unhinged characters who they get into a road rage altercation in the beginning of the first scene of the show.
Not too much spoilers now. Just give me one.
Yeah, it's the first scene, but the rest of the show kind of follows the their escalating feud, and it's very much a trip stuff that happens in it, but it's also extremely hilarious at times. So, I highly recommend it. It's just wild.
Got you. Yeah, I'm intrigued. Nice. So yeah, for everybody that's looking for a new show or a show to binge, watch, get into, those are several recommendations. Salute to y'all. Now, if there isn't anything else, my quote-unquote favorite part, the topics. And as you may or may not have noticed, we have been absent for a few weeks. So it's gonna be a quote unquote longer one. Maybe we'll see. But obviously, I probably should say a lot of this in the beginning. Damn. Anyway, but if you don't have time to sit here and listen to a bunch or a few random guys talk about stuff for hours, the episode individual topics are sliced up on the channel, or you can just go watch those individually. Or and of course, and also we have the topics timestamps if you do want to just jump around. But without further ado, also follow us on social media. I feel that's the thing that people usually say in the beginning of those things. It's also in the description below. Oh yeah, as well as all right. Last thing, as well as all of our music song selections for this week, and a playlist and a list of those songs will also be in the description below. Yeah, I gotta remind me about the description below type crud. Okay, so let me go here. Oh dang, how do I Oh, we appreciate that. Okay, so let me go here. Sorry, I almost got a little flustered. This might look a little jank, so bear with us. Okay, actually looks good, but I have to do this. Yeah, yes, perfect. Again, keep checking out the thing just to make sure everything looks good over there, Ace.
Yeah.
But for our first topic, yes, it's annoying. It can be annoying, but dating is a constant conversation in this day and age. Everyone's trying to, go on dates with individuals and, just, find someone that they can have a, copacetic time with. So this was an interesting dynamic or way to go about that apparently happened to this young lady. And to be honest, you really got to see it and absorb it before I can even really get to any question. So just play it. For a bit of context for our listeners, this was the Shade Room. They said, ladies, y'all trying this for your next date? So let's see what this young lady did.
To all of my ladies in the dating pool, let me show you how to redirect your way out of a low budget experience. Okay, this is a potential suitor. He has no number saved because period. Y'all already know how I roll. Good morning. It was great speaking with you last night. I woke up so refreshed. I would love to take you to coffee this week. Does Wednesday work? Okay, you cannot take me to coffee or tea on the first date. It's not equitable for me. I don't drink coffee and my perfume costs too much, so don't play. All right, so I hail from corporate America. We're going to use the sandwich effect here. 6 years in the C-suite. We about to use this. Okay, boom. So I say, good morning. It was great speaking with you also. It's actually restaurant week coming up. Here's the link. Let me know which one you decide. I'm looking forward to it. So we're going to start off with something good, okay? It was great speaking with you also. I'm not even addressing the coffee, baby. We're going to redirect you in the middle, then I'm going to end with something great saying, I'm looking forward to seeing you. We're also putting the ball back in his court because he's a grown man, okay? You need to make the decision. So he goes, I just looked over the options. Let's do Italian. Perfect. So he goes, Wednesday at 7 p.m. I'm like, works for me. I'm in Alexandria and I'm not far. If you could pick me up or send me an Uber, that would be awesome because why would you want me working on cobblestone? Why would you want me looking for parking? It sounds laborious to me. He goes, no problem. I'll send an Uber around 6:15. Baby is a new man. He is a new man. And I go, wonderful. Thank you. Ask for what you want. Be polite in your ass. Be a little bit difficult and always say please and thank you. There you go.
I want to kind of make a comment, but I'm gonna, we're just, back after a couple of weeks. Let's save any toxic or controversial takes until we get to, that's so we get to later in the podcast. Okay, so as you heard, this young lady is having their first outings and interaction with the young gentleman. And this woman, who it's very important that she pointed out she's in corporate America because she speaks as such, or the corporate world. And it seems like women these days are taking the charge when it comes to, I guess, how these dates are kind of functioning. And this is the first thing. We don't have to get too deep or into our meta. I just wanted to get y'all thoughts on something like this. How would y'all feel? And maybe now some of the curtains have been peeled back, and you may literally be dealing with an interaction like this. How would y'all feel or think if you knew? Because this one posted this on TikTok. So what if the guy found it? If you knew that this was the mentality in, she was basically guiding you towards how they want to be treated when setting up and executing on a date. And I guess if you have any takes on how this young lady presented this situation, you could chip on in on that too. Let's start with you, Ghost. What do you think?
Well, I guess before I get to how I'll react if I knew, how I would, if I didn't know that this is her strat and I was just texting her and these are the messages I got. The first one, that probably would have worked on me, because if I'm not actively in that mindset thinking that someone's trying to like take advantage or get a free meal out of me, I'm not going to assume that. So if she comes with that suggestion for meals or whatever, and I'm not one for a coffee first date regardless, but I think that probably would have worked, because I'm not in that mindset of thinking, oh, she's actively trying to get me to pay more, blah blah blah. That second one though, that would be suspicious to me. Like, I get
Where she
that,
said, "Can you pick me up or send an Uber?"
yeah, like I get that you may not have a car necessarily, but not even the pick me up thing, but the can you send me an thing, that's where I had some pushback, because you a grown adult.
Well, it sounds like they have a
Well,
car, but they just don't want to go through. They probably like we're going out
I
or live in the city, and then you know how parking in the city can be.
mean they may, but I don't know that. If someone asks me that, I'm gonna assume they don't have a car. But regardless,
Fair
I'm
enough.
not sending you an Uber. Like, you're an adult. I'm not gonna pay for everything in the outing. Like, I'm presumably gonna be paying for the meal. I ain't gonna be paying for you to get a ride. Like, you can buy your own. But that's when I would kind of get some red flags. As for knowing that this is the strategy that she's employing, it's I don't know, if she's just doing this to get a free meal out of it, like she's just trying to hustle, I don't condone it, but I guess respect it in a way, because if you're not going for something serious, it's fucked up, but I don't know, this is how some people move, and it is what it is. Like, my goal is to not be one of the people that are getting hustled like this, but
Well, I think even more so than the meal. I think the point is, in her eyes, there was a kind of a lack of direction and or what they specifically would have liked out of an outing or a date. So they were just trying to push them into direction. I mean, yes, the
well,
coffee, the dinner date is going to be more expensive than the coffee date, but I think they were just trying to push him into the direction of what she would find like as a good opening impression or a better opening impression when you first
well,
start to get to know somebody.
I don't think that's true, honestly, because maybe from the first message, maybe, but I mean, he gave a potential excursion. He gave a day. I get that it wasn't like a specific, let's be here at this time, blah blah blah. So maybe I can kind of see where you're coming from on that. But then the car thing, like, the way she's talking is just, it's framed in a way that she's gonna squeeze the most she can out of this dude, be it a meal or transportation, because she don't want to pay for anything. Like, this doesn't seem like she's actively trying to get to know the dude and is giving him like quote unquote constructive criticism. It seems more like she's used to using this strategy on multiple dudes, and after this one gets his turn, then it's on to the next. So
I don't know about that.
bro, come on, she's like she has this shit like ironed out, bro. Like
I'm telling you
this
that
is
comes
not
from.
this is
I'm
not
telling you
a,
that comes from her career choices. I'm telling you.
so her career choice knows that will lead her to the whole car thing. So
She's
because she's a
It's the
career woman,
sandwich method. She said
she's
it.
literally operating as like a project like analyst program manager. She's like literally like okay like or maybe HR even like she's dealing with somebody as if like you don't want to be impolite and you don't want to make them feel like they're less than, so you give them options, you point them to the direction, and then once they're already in the vicinity, then you give them like specific, hey, they're gonna.
uh,
I'm just telling you this again. And I
I
don't
think
want to
that's
speak too much,
a
but
little too optimistic. But if I was to give her the benefit of the doubt and say that she was just approaching this scenario like a business
like a
problem,
business
and it's not
transaction, yeah.
like just a template that she uses on multiple different dudes trying to get over, then I guess I don't have a problem with it. But I don't know. Just the way this comes across, it seems more exploitative than constructive to me.
I actually do understand that sentiment. What about you? Do you feel any of the same sentiment that Ghost was talking about? Like, what do you think in general of this method that they employed, and would you take any issue if somebody was using it with you?
For some reason, I actually fall on the more optimistic side. Um, I mean, I guess it's kind of unfortunate that she's giving everybody the hints, so now it's gonna be harder for dudes. But I don't know. Like, I kind of like that she is very aware of what she's after, and it's not. I don't. It doesn't really seem to me like it's just for a a meal in a way that, or it's just for a meal, and it's not in any interest of get trying to get to know the dude more. It's more
Mm,
so that she's trying to orchestrate it in a way that she's going to feel more comfortable. It's going to be more, appealing to her.
yeah.
So overall, like if she's in a better mood, if she's more optimistic about the date, I think it's still in the dude's favor at the end of the day. So in that regard, like I think, I mean, even though you might be paying more, it's still kind of a win. And then I mean with the vehicle thing, I don't I don't see a problem given that she also said, can you pick me up or send an Uber? The fact that she gave the option of picking up, um, clear, like I don't know if it's clear that she doesn't want to spend money, her own gas money or whatever, but um, still, like it's not like she's forcing him to pay for an Uber. She's also giving the option to pick her up as well. So to me, I do
And
look
I'm
at
not
this
gonna
more.
cap. All the guys out there, if they do give you the option, if they're cool with letting you pick them up, you're in a good space. You should probably take advantage of that.
It does seem like that. So yeah, I do look at this more optimistically. Yeah, I don't really see too many negatives about it because again, I don't look at it as she's purely just trying to do this to get a free meal, which I've definitely seen other videos express that sentiment where you know there's some cases where women just don't really care about the dude at all, but will use them just to get a meal out of them or whatever, and that's it. So
Yeah, I tend to agree with you. And I think if it does seem like overly exploitive in any way, I think you just have a. Not, I'm not targeting you girls or anyone. I think a corporate business, because again, it was so clear that when she said that, because it was like, okay, I see how you operate now. I work with these type of people. I'm sure we all work with these type of people on the daily. But yeah, I don't know. It was a super mother story, guys. Woman out. I mean, like you kind of said it, is but like she's giving up the game. Like basically, if you are ever like unfamiliar on like how to really like win over a woman on the first out or first couple outings, Basically, take what she did, but do it before they even ask, and you're good. Boom. But yeah, some advice came out of some dating advice came out of that after all. But if there's nothing else, we can move on to the next topic. Not too much on this. What even is the order? Yeah, I remember this. I want to keep things on track, but looking at this was, I don't know if this is, anyway, we're here anyway. So we've actually had this conversation in the past, but I don't think we had it on record. So let's do it. And yeah, we'll just play it. But it says, I know that's damn right. First of all, I can tell a woman said this. But anyway, man goes viral for speaking out against his married homeboy who tried to talk to another woman at the club. And also audio / I think the brother might be eating while he's talking. So if you don't like any of that stuff, warning alert. Play it, Ace.
Homeboy got mad at me. Now he ain't talking to me because we in the club and he tried to talk to these women, but he married. And I told him, hey, bro, you need to cut that out. He talking, man, why you hating, bro? Well, I ain't hating. I ain't tell you to walk down that aisle. I ain't tell you introduce me to this woman and you go get that ring on your finger. Got me out on this wedding, spending all this money to come to y'all wedding to watch you come in this club and cheat and mess it all up. That's my money I spent on your wedding. I spent my money on your wedding. And I spent a lot of it too. We all in Vegas and all of that, all these casinos, and I'm spending all of my money. Nah, y'all stand together. You the one introduced me to this lady. Got me calling her sis all the time and all. I'm not gonna be lying in this woman's face. Boy, you better go get you a drink. I pay for it. Get you a drink and sit down somewhere, bro, because you ain't finna. Nah, I spent too much money on y'all wedding.
Well,
I wish we had Wes on this one.
He was the only married one of all of us. Yeah, obviously it took a turn of more selfish intent. But I think fundamentally what this boils down to is the age-old conundrum question. I don't know, however you want to say. If you see your homeboy acting out of line and potentially doing something that's would be considered stepping outside of his relationship, are you telling? Or not even are you telling, but what do you think is the correct way to go about it? I guess also you can keep in mind that you've also, in the context that you may or may not have been to the brother's wedding and you may not have had to spend some of your own money on the matter. I guess we're going over this. Ace, what do you think? If you see one of your homeboys, acting shady outside of a relationship, what are you doing?
Yeah, I'm definitely stepping to them. I'm letting them know it's wrong. Like, stop. Like, adultery. I mean, this is not really a hot take, but adultery is like an extreme pet peeve of mine. I hate music.
I never heard this one. I never heard that before.
Yeah, I hate music that endorses it. I hate anything that involved with adultery, especially viewing it in a positive light. It just pisses me off. So I'm definitely saying something. And I didn't think the video was going to go the way it did, but it kind of. I almost feel like Wes has said something like this, although not to this extreme, about kind of an endorsement of having getting married and having a wedding, being that you have your family, you have friends, like you have your community around you that's seeing this thing, this kind of like promise that you're that you're going to be faithful to your significant other for the rest of your lives. So it gives you other people to be accountable to, not just the two of you, because you're making this oath in front of everybody. So
he did say something like this before.
Yeah, right. So
Dang,
I guess it is kind of an endorsement. Yeah. But no, I mean, I don't have too much deep to say about it. Like,
well, I guess real quick, what if just like how he mentioned, what if the response is, why are you hating? Why are you worrying about me? Come on, you supposed to be my bro. What are you doing?
I'm like you can probably tell by the way that I'm talking that I'm going to start getting pissed off, and the things I'm going to say, like,
Yeah, actually, yeah.
it's not going to be well worded.
Yeah, I got you. Fair enough, fair enough. And then what about you, Ghost? Are you stepping to your homeboy if you see them, stepping outside the relationship? Or are you more, my name is Paul and that's between y'all?
Nah, I'm gonna be stepping to him, give him the old ultimatum: either you tell her or I will.
Well, what if he didn't? What if he didn't do anything yet? What if he just he was like you said, he was talking to women?
Oh, well, I'm assuming that he already did AD, whatever. If he's talking and it's not, it hasn't progressed to anything physical and
Yeah,
concrete yet.
he's just acting shady. He's just like flirting with the idea.
Yeah, then it's not gonna be like an immediate call the wife if you have her contact information. It'll be more so you talking to him, be like, yo, you need to chill. And now if he's drinking or whatever, or I don't know what, if he's whatever he has going on, try to get him out the situation. But yeah, not something that I would sit back and just observe.
Fair enough, fair enough. And again, if you receive any pushback on that, would you back off it, or you'd be like, dog, it's really
No.
you would lean into it?
Well, if I got pushback, I mean, I can't. He's a grown man. I'm not gonna be able to control what he does. But if I told him and he's looks like he's about to get into something, and I tell him and he's still like on that wave, like, why you gotta? I'm gonna continue to like be on him. But if he's still like talking to other women, all that, then that's when I'll probably reach out to the wife or whoever. And,
You're reaching out to wives?
hell yeah! What you mean? I mean, again, if he progresses from just talking to actually doing shit.
No, I don't want to turn this into
Well, I mean, not if I'm
code
telling,
conversation.
I'm telling him like what you're doing is fucked up, and he's still doing it. He's not changing anything. Then I don't know. I mean, like, adultery isn't just the physical act. It's
Yes, we know.
it's
When you start lusting, yes. Yeah, I don't want to turn into a bro code, but so y'all don't subscribe to that bro code crap?
no. Well,
Nah, I don't think I do.
not in that aspect. I mean, there are certain things that you gotta adhere to, but not related to cheating and nothing like that.
Yeah, I feel like definitely if you know the physical act has occurred, the any code is out the window.
You know what's interesting, and I don't want to spend too much time on any one of these singular topics, but I actually, let me be careful what I say.
Uh-oh.
I actually, specifically when it comes, well, not completely reverse, but let's say, yeah, I guess completely reverse. Sorry, I'm stumbling on my words. But let's say if a woman had a friend, a male friend, even though you know how I feel about that, and they knew that he was flirting or stepping outside the relationship, I wouldn't recommend that woman go to that guy's significant other. Hope I'm not confusing anybody. And try to out him, because going to woman stuff, that's a bad idea. Don't do that.
Yeah, I agree with that. Yep.
Unless you have super definitive evidence, and even then, a woman will sooner stick by her man than hear from another woman. I'm just telling all the women out there. But you guys bring up an interesting. I don't know how. I guess you just don't see this often.
Yeah.
What would a woman's reaction be if her man's husband came to them and told them the truth? You don't see that too often, so I don't really know how that goes. But and again, these are all hypotheticals we're talking about. Lords, we never even come into this type of circumstances because we don't be around people that do this type of thing. But I think you want to have a good amount of evidence or some level of evidence. I don't know if you just want to go in there, hey, he's kind of been acting line. I'm just telling you the truth. I still think you want to come in with some type of evidence. That's just my brief recommendation. Obviously, maybe if you
Gotcha.
kind of know the woman, maybe she'll believe you, and then they can handle it on their own. And I do fully understand where y'all are coming from, the perspective that, like, at the end of the day, you know, adultery is nothing to play with, and the type of people you surround yourself is kind of reflective of you. So if they're doing it and maybe you're not honest when you know, then you start to look bad as well. So
Yeah, and this dude made a good point too. Like, he's gonna be around the woman too, and have to be like
yeah,
kind of withholding now. It's gonna be weird for him. Like, if I was in his position, I wouldn't even want to be around the dude anymore,
yeah,
the dude and his wife anymore, because it's like I'm not gonna be faking
yeah. You
in front of
kikiing,
you.
laughing in her face, asking her how she's doing.
Exactly.
Yeah, when you guys are right, you're right. Yeah, ultimately, I don't know. It feels as if back in the day when Broco was like a super popular regular thing, like everyone would be like this. I think this is why this skit slash just his commentary is like kind of funny, because like he's actually kind of right. Like there's no reason to hang on to like ideas of like this solidarity when people are just doing effed up stuff.
Yeah, and I mean, the only thing I will say is like I think it becomes more blurry like the less you are familiar with the person. Like, if it's a friend, a close friend, is my answer is obvious. But if it's just like, I don't know, an acquaintance or something like that,
Yeah, like or maybe a coworker.
Yeah.
That's a
I
good question.
yeah, I'd probably be less likely to um get into that. I think I would have to know the person on some personal level.
Yeah, that makes sense. And I did pose it, and it sounds like from the sound of the video, like these are homeboys. Like they know they have a
Right.
relationship with each other.
Yeah, he
So
was at the dude's wedding. Like,
yeah, exactly,
yeah.
exactly. Yeah. No, I think I know where y'all stand. I know where you probably should stand in the type of in situation. So I'm not mad at it. I really even want to say this because I really don't like putting certain stuff out in the universe. But speaking about Wes, I'm just thinking. Because, yeah, could you imagine going to a wedding as, in my opinion, as grandiose and there's multiple parts and people are giving speeches? Yeah, I can definitely understand the side of like, bro,
Especially knowing how much
we
inflation
traveled the world to be at your wedding and
Yeah, yeah.
and you're gonna go talk to, yeah. Anyway, we all love you here, Wes. So we're just talking. Anyway, yeah, there's nothing else. We can move on to the next topic. Nice little pace we got going on. Okay, we have a nice cancel culture scenario. I wish there was another C word I can think of. But and we haven't talked about someone getting canceled or some organization getting canceled in a while. This is like a classic cancel. It's like this is kind of crazy to see it even happening in 2023. Sorry. So, a Canadian KFC marketing campaign is receiving backlash on social media after many users finding the imaging to be culturally insensitive images from the campaign starting to go viral from after they were posted to X/Twitter from KFC's Canada's director of marketing. Once the images began to receive criticism from lack of diversity, the director of the marketing apologized and shared a 60-second commercial that says it is more representative of Canada's diversity and their creative. I don't know, but basically, for all the audio listeners, it's basically your good old classic black people eating fried chicken and fried chicken sandwiches. That's really what it boils down to. I'm a bit shocked that this is even a thing in 2022, like I said. But let's see what some of the fan base, some of the users, some people from social media are saying. Go ahead. So the initial post. Oh, okay. So this was the initial post from the director of marketing. Sorry, utensils. It's finger looking good. Latest campaign. I couldn't be more proud. So, the director of the marketing director is posting up. And this is obviously their idea, inspired by them. And again, it's just images of Oh, it's images of the utensils not being used because the people, which happen to be black and brown folk, are eating the chicken with their hands. And we all know KFC's finger looking good. So that's what they said. That's what they posted. And let's see what some of the responses were. At JR the Rider, nah. It's the way that eating this chicken makes it look, or makes it even more. It's just finger looking good. It's fine. What else? so we just said, hold up. Keep going. Someone said, I think this campaign is brilliant. Visually, it's strong as hell. However, and this is a big however, this lacked cultural sensitivity. Casting missed the mark. Okay, so they think it's good in like the artistic view of it, but they don't understand why it's just black people eating it. It's giving General Fried Chicken. Classic. Keep going. It's absolutely effing racist and dehumanizing. KFC at Telecolonel. Once again, black people are exploited in several of some idiot's career goals when they clearly haven't done their homework. This is hideous, ridiculous ad campaign. KFC, take this racist garbage down. What? That's how they said it. Sorry, maybe I missed the mark. What else? This is racist. I'm sorry, but some of you black folk need to calm down. Okay, so this is a person on the opposite side. I used to be that person. Glad I grew up and stopped seeing everything as an attack. This is not racism, is it? So they're kind of questioning, like, what is the big hoopla? Big Energy. I think that's from the... What movie is that from? I forget.
Clone Tyrone.
Oh, yeah, Clone Tyrone. And last but not least... The post didn't capture the full diversity of our latest campaign. I personally apologize for not being more thoughtful in my excitement to share the campaign and only sharing certain photos. Here's a 60-second spot that is more representative of Canada's diversity in our Does he mention their creativity? Anyway, I guess they actually posted an ad to go with this, so I guess we can watch this real quick just so we can get the full context. So go back and then come, or you can refresh it, however it's easier for you guys. Let's see what the ad is looking like. Nice feel.
I'm all out of love.
Actually,
I'm so lost without you. I know you were right.
Actually, there was a copyright on one of our videos.
Oh wow, that's great.
Because we're obviously not, then it's just like, hey, your thing has copyright. Some of it would get claimed. I forget which video it was. I think it was some like gunplay stuff. Anyway, sorry to be talking during the video, but it's just again a bunch of people eating KFC without utensils, and the utensil is sad. So, but it's more than just black and brown people. There was some Asian looking people, white older people. They got everybody in there because everybody eats KFC, not just black people, of course. Anyway. We've seen this a million times. Maybe it doesn't even require a deep dive. What do y'all think? Do you think that the initial posting does look a bit sus? Does feel a bit lacking in sensitivity? Does look a little... What's that word people use? I forget. Out of touch. What do you think, Ace? Do you think it warranted the apology and the backlash? Or the backlash and the apology?
In a way, I do like. I don't want to say they. I don't know. I knew it makes sense that it happened. 1,000% makes sense that they got backlash for it. I think I agree with the one user
from the images, based off the images alone.
Yeah. Just based on the images, just based on the images.
Mm-hmm. That was the initial post.
Right. Yeah, the user that said like they could see that it had great direction or whatever, but it was just culturally insensitive. Like, I agree with that, and that the concept was actually pretty great. Like having the utensils, the shiny utensils, showing the people eating the chicken without using
and not using utensils.
Yeah, it was a great idea. And then the fact that it's all black people is just, it's baffling how things like this can still happen and they don't push back. And like you expect that they have these big marketing firms or whatever that go through all these
And teams. It'd be a
yeah
full team of
exactly
people.
teams, and plus they do the testing, the market, or the market testing or whatever to make sure it's going to test well, and somehow it still slips through all that. It's just weird. It's weird. Like I don't understand how it still happens. Um, and like it's so weird that I almost have to think like it's some just a random person, not the whole company, but some random person that just wants to slip something in there to be intentional, because it's like, how does this get so far? And
Like the conspiracy that some of these companies do it on purpose because all press is good press.
I mean
That's
that
the thing.
no, I wasn't even saying that. It's just like one disgruntled, or not disgruntled person, but one like kind of um
Oh, somebody did it intentionally to harm the
yeah
company.
yeah.
Got you.
But I don't know. I mean, again, with the levels of market testing and all that stuff that they have, that probably can't be true. Like it just has to be a gaff. I I don't know what else it could be. It's just weird. Um, but yeah, I the the reaction or whatever, the apology showing the full ad is exactly what the images that were initially released should have been. It should have had more diversity. Like
Yeah.
if just one of them was a black person and then there was a white person and an Asian person, it would have been fine. But because it was all black people, that's the problem.
Yeah.
Ah,
Yeah. And obviously, this is based in Canada. I mean, I think anywhere, probably, actually, maybe if a country was more homogenous, maybe it would make sense. But obviously, in a place like Canada where there is some level of diversity, if you want to
yeah.
reflect the people, then that makes sense.
Yeah, and again, like to be clear, I'm not getting in an uproar about this. I would probably laugh in the way that it's so like ridiculous that they would do it and think it would just be fine. But I'm not the person that's like getting outraged about it. It's just crazy that they don't realize that these things are gonna cause backlash.
I got you. What about you, Ghost? I keep feeling as if I should be talking to another person here. um, do you think the ad was insensitive, or do you think people were just being too sensitive? See, like what I did there?
I mean,
Sorry.
it was insensitive, but I mean, I'm kind of like pretty much agree with Ace in that it's honestly funny at this point. Like, I don't think dude was trying to be racist, and he did recover it pretty well by showing the full ad spot, and it definitely was that diversity in the ad. But as far as the screen caps and the images, it's what makes it funny to me is that if you look on like all these different like the stereotypical college brochures, the company has their pictures of some of their employees. There's always one black person, maybe two, a man and a woman, and it's all white people. Then maybe one Asian or something person. And you're telling me that on those three images you couldn't fit any other ethnicity? And like, come on, bro. Like, it's honestly, I think it's like what is it? What do they call it? Like a Freudian slip where it's an
Yeah.
accident, but it subconsciously reveals your true mindset. So I don't know. I mean, it's I kind of expect things like this at this point. Like it's something straight out the Boondocks. Like the
Yeah.
images that we're using are
Very
just
Boondocks.
it's so over the top and ridiculous how stereotypical it is. Like if you asked a racist person like what an image of a black person eating chicken would look like, those are the images that would pop up, to be honest. But I don't know. It like I'm not pissed or anything. I get why people are pissed, but it's it just at some point it goes past offense and it's just become.
Yeah, and I think you guys actually summed that up quite well. And yeah, I think I'm in the same like ballpark. It's kind of just like like what are we doing here? Like yeah, it just yeah. I mean, you guys said it all. It's baffling how that can make it past a team or even a couple people without being like dog. You know, people because you just gotta know your environment. You gotta know that even though a lot of these people are like a bit tweaked out and will get outraged over anything, like you don't want to give them this much ammo. But I want to say so to KFC, but no shade. But I had KFC in my recent past, and it was not enjoyable. But salute to everybody that does like KFC. I can say that. If there's nothing else, we can move on to the next joint. It hasn't even hit an hour yet. We've touched like 3 topics. Where's like the deep dive? I don't know if this would be the deep dive. Okay, so we have an article by the Business Insider. So this is all good old fashioned topics. Good old fashioned complaining about Gen Z. So, does this article have a title, or is it just scroll down and base? Okay, here we go. A recruiter said a Gen Z intern asked for a 5-hour workday in an interview, sparking debate about work-life balance. So, salute to Business Insider because I don't even have to read this article. They give you the highlights, and I will read some of it, but they give the key points of the article. And I think I've seen other articles start to do this. Although maybe you could argue it's a bad thing because that means, just like how this is about to describe how people are a bit lazier these days. Mm-hmm. Anyway, some of the key points of it are a recruiter tweets. I wonder if they have a tweet. Tweets about an interview with the Gen Zer who wanted a 5-hour workday went viral. Twitter users are divided over whether Gen Z workers demanding too much from their job interviews. Career experts said Gen Z should research their industry before making demands about work-life balance. So, a bit of the summarization is apparently, allegedly, a recruiter had an interview with somebody that's in Gen Z. I forget where that age range falls in, but a young individual, probably fresh out of college. They went to that interview, and it was probably a good interview, except for this weird point where they asked for a 5-hour workday, which is a bit off from the standard 8. And to be honest, if you're in the job field and you've been in it, you're more used to like 10 plus. Go down to the article. I guess we can just look at a bit of it. Okay, I kind of want to see if they have the tweet. Okay, so it says a recruiter was left a little puzzled and odd after interviewing a Gen Z applicant who said they were looking for a 5-hour workday and a $600 stipend up front. Is that common to get stipends up front? Anyway, Samira Khan, an Indian-based director of people success in Infredo, an employee expert platform, wrote about the experience on Twitter. She wrote, on 19th of July, I was interviewing a Gen Z intern today. This is an intern, by the way, keep in mind. And so it's a guy, he says he's looking for work-life balance with not much more than 5 hours of work. Doesn't like the MNC, someone look that up real quick, culture. So wants to work at a startup. Also wants a 40 to 50K stipend. I guess that translates to $600 a week. God bless the future of work. This post has more than 700,000 views, sparked a social media debate about Gen Z behavior at work. Hopefully they have some examples.
I guess MNC is multinational corporation.
Huh. Interesting.
So they don't like the big company. They don't like the culture at big companies. So they want.
Got you, and that's why the startup. Okay, learn something new. I hire Gen Z every quarter, and they can't take pressure at all. Interesting, but do expect a huge amount of money. Also interesting. They are creative, but they are taking jobs for granted. One user replied to the post. Another disagreed, saying, "Thank God, elite Gen Z is setting up the expectations, and not agreeing to be a corporate slave with no life and all work. Good for them. Khan further commented on the post 21st. I'm like, what is this? European style? 21st July writing. Here's my take. Prioritizing. Oh, yes, definitely somebody from another thing because they're using an S instead of a Z. Prioritizing a few internships. One should look for learning, growth, good projects, and peers. Balance gets struck eventually. She added, imagine having work-life balance but hating the 5 hours of work you have to do or people you have to work with. Oh, okay, so they're saying focus more on other things than the actual amount of time you work there. Okay, I'll just keep going through. Gen Z is a relatively new to the workplace and have a reputation for demanding flexibility and work-life balance after growing up security. However, security experts told insiders in March that the young job seekers should research their industry before rattling managers with questions about how many hours they have to work. Industries like finance and banking that usually require more hour work-life balance. Stephen Sibley, a clinical assistant professor at the Finance of Indiana University Kelley School of Business, told Insider in March that investment banking candidates should steer clear of this or their application is likely to be denied. So basically, if you want to go into finance, which a lot of people do end up going, you can't have this type of attitude. They ain't looking for you. Anyway, this is again another age-old work-life balance debate, but it seems like I don't know if they're using this one intern as a example for all of Gen Z, but there is a reputation. Gen Z does have a reputation for being this kind of more lax, more creative, as they said, group of individuals that want to prioritize not being slaves to their jobs, which is admirable. But the fact that somebody would go in one of their first interviews and specifically demand to literally work less, I can imagine as a recruiter, I would think that's a bit sus as well. So the question really boils down to, what do we make of this? Do you think, quote unquote, Gen Z, younger folks are working smarter or not harder? Or do you think they're like literally weaker as a result of this, of having this mentality? We'll start with the young one here. I don't think it counts Gen Z, but what do you think about this, Ghost?
I am very curious to hear Ghost's take.
Only non-old person here. This is an interesting one. So on the surface, like I kind of hate when it just becomes the Gen Z hate article like this, and it's a little much, but I do see why there's pushback from older generations as far as work-life balance or the demands, I should say, of the younger people for work-life balance and demands that are unreasonable relative to what the current state of the job market is. Like this demand of 5-hour work days a week and upfront payment, and it sounds like they want a pretty significant salary. I get why to a recruiter especially it would just seem crazy because they see interviews every single day. They've been doing this and they know what the industry standard is, and someone that's trying to buck that trend so substantially is pretty crazy.
Violently.
Yeah. But I think that a lot of that mindset is that's like really for older people especially, they're so used to things being done a certain way, and like really like with work is like probably the number one thing. Like if you talk to any old, I don't want to say old person like that, but I don't mean it like in a negative way, but just any person over the age of like 40 or 50, I should say, it's go out, find a job. I was working when I was 12 years old. I've been working for X amount of years, and most people, I should say, do their jobs. They do it consistently without really complaining. And
I think people complain.
Well, yeah, I'm speaking. You're right. I'm kind of generalizing here, but I'm generalizing for like the older generation compared to younger generations, that they complain less, I should say. And they're more resigned to what needs to be done to make a living. But I don't think that it's a bad thing that younger generations seeking for stuff that may be unreasonable older people are used to. But like I've said this before, working 40 hours a week, even with no overtime, none of that, even if you work from home all day, it's what people are used to now, but that's not how things should be. Like your entire life or half of your life should not be fucking work, and it's unavoidable.
You think
Like
40 hours is a life that's filled with work?
well, when you factor in
One third of the day?
when you factor
Not
in
one third,
commute,
but sorry. But yeah.
factor in all the stuff that comes with it. You got to get ready. You got to get ready for the next day, food and all that. There's a lot of stuff that you can't do because you're so busy with work all the day.
This is true. It's
It's
not literally just 8 hours, it's everything that consumes it and that's around it.
yeah, it's like honestly, even if it's not, even if you don't have to commute or your time devoted to it is strictly limited to 8 hours, I don't think that's how it should be. In that, I don't think that it's something that's good and that's the goal to attain for. Like I'm saying this as someone who works 40 plus hours a week and has done it for the past 8+ years of my life, and I have to do it for another few decades. But just because people are used to something doesn't make it good. Like
Yeah.
it's not some. Is this an ideal to strive for? Like, oh, you want to strive to work 40 hours a week and like that's not that shouldn't be like the norm, and everyone's just okay with that, and it's kind of how it has been. But I do think it needs, even demands that are relatively unreasonable, at least it kind of gets the conversation started as far as changing some things. Because all these, you could work 30 hours a week and companies would see less profit margin, but they'd still be profitable. They still could operate. The entire world could operate if people worked 25% less.
I mean, I don't want to get into a whole conversation, but that's not how capitalism works.
I know. I'm aware that capitalism is trying to squeeze out every last hour, every last cent that they can, but that's not how it should be. And again, it's something that we're resigned to because we live in America, we live in a capitalistic society, and that's not going to change anytime soon unless we get on that socialism wave. But
Hey.
it's, I don't like, just because it's normal and people see something that's outside the norm and just lose their mind and say, oh, I did this and that, so that means that you should have to do that too. I don't think that's the way that we should look at things. And even if this person is kind of out their mind for coming in with these demands, like there's a lot of demands or things that have been raised over the years, like working 4 days a week instead of 5 and stuff like that. That's kind of started with stuff like this, people asking for quote unquote unreasonable demands, and you don't get all of those demands met, but there's some acquiescence and some tolerance that's you gain. So I think it's good in general for people to ask for stuff even if it's unrealistic, because it does help. But I do also get the other side, and if you're going into a field, like, you can ask, but prepare to have a lot of different job applications, because you ain't gonna find a lot of companies willing to hire you.
Okay, but you do fundamentally like are in agreement that, well, you have the philosophy about the 40 hours being excessive, and you're okay with people asking. So why do you say you're like they sound crazy or something like that?
Well, when I say they sound crazy, it's like you have to know what to expect, and you can ask, what the fuck is going on? Sorry, I'm getting blown up on Discord for some reason.
The same thing.
I don't know who's even messaging me. Hold up. Yeah, I gotta
but
myself for a sec.
Okay, well, I guess while he's throwing that up, I'll try to remember that question. Ace, what's your take on all of this? Are you in alignment with, this is a good, even though it sounds like a demand sounds crazy, it's in the right direction? Or do you think that people should need to suck it up and work?
Um, I'm going to say, so as somebody who has
Say
been
what you feel.
as somebody who's been on the hiring side of the table once, if somebody came to me and told me they wanted to work a 5-hour week, they're immediately not being considered for the position. Like, so,
What if
and
they
I
have
think
all? What if they have all the other credentials?
doesn't matter, doesn't matter, doesn't matter, doesn't matter at all. And I think
Even if
that
I mean, I guess they were specifically demanding for it. Even if they asked for it.
yeah, even if they ask for it, like the moment that comes out your mouth, I'm not like that person would have been
You're not taking them
out
as
of my
seriously.
mind. Yeah.
This is
No, it's not
interesting.
gonna work. And I think a lot of other companies or hiring managers or whatever are of the same mindset. Um, so, but at the same time, I'm not necessarily speaking against trying it, but like Ghost said, like I think you have to be in the position where you don't need the job. Like you can do without the job, or transitioning into a new role or whatever for a while. It's more so something that you're just feeling out, and while you're in your current position, is to see if there's something better out there. Like if you're in that position, then I think making requests like this makes sense. But otherwise, like absolute
You're
how
that
many
opposed to,
career paths can you think of that would be good with something like this? Like
but it's. I mean,
Yeah, you got to be doing a
it's like a
part-time service
part-time
job.
job. 5 hours a week versus not five
if
hours
I'm
a
not
day,
hiring for a part-time
8
person,
hours
then
a
hell
day.
no, it's not even up for like, and it would scare me away from like hiring the person, because like how can I, if you're asking for this, I automatically am questioning your work ethic. So
But
it's,
oh, sorry.
there's nothing that I don't feel like there's anything that would justify the hire, um like any experience or anything that would justify the hire. But I mean, there could be positions where like an employer is in a tough spot and they really need to fill a position, and it's super specific, like the experience needed is extremely specific. Maybe there are high up positions where something like that happens, and the employee is in a position to bargain something extreme like this. But I think it's like you'll know you'll know if you're that guy. And I don't think like most people are not that in that position. I don't think like
Yeah, we didn't really get specific about the type of person that's applying, but I mean, based off this story, it was the person that was applying for an internship. So they're
exactly,
literally
like,
starting at the
yeah,
bottom.
you talking at the bottom? Nah, there's way too many other applicants. Like there's no way. There's no
So
way.
and thank you for bringing up. I don't even know why you're kind of limiting yourself. I think even doing it once, but you're giving a perspective that's really important. But I think if you want to play the devil's advocate for the other side, I think you're saying it's because you have the mentality that a standard work week, if not more, is showcasing proper work ethic. When I think, and they were speaking about how Gen Z individuals are more creative, and if I'm being charitable, that would translate to their come up creative problem solutions or things like that nature. So
Hmm.
I think there would be coming from it from a perspective of, hey, I can do this job and I can help the company. I just need a better work life balance, and to support that balance, I will get the job done in 30 hours or less.
Yeah, but I have no evidence of that. And like the
Nah,
positions that
yeah,
I've
that's
the
hard to
positions
prove.
that I've held, all of them are positions where if you're just hiring somebody new, there's a very high probability that that person is not going to last in the position because of the amount of work required. And it's not to
And the
say
learning
that
curve.
things can't be done more efficiently and all that stuff, but I don't know that you're the person that's going to be have all these great ideas and be able to bust things out in
That's a really valid
an
argument.
efficient manner. Like I just don't know that. I'm taking a risk. And when companies hire, they usually they're not just hiring just to hire. Like they have a demand.
Yeah,
They have to meet quotas, and they're not just hiring willy nilly. So they're looking
yeah.
for people that are willing to work at the full 8 hours. I mean, let's be realistic. At least the full 8 hours.
I still think an argument could be made. The 8 hour mindset could be challenged.
That's
Like,
true. That's true. I mean, and like I said, I I'm not completely against it. I'm not completely against shifting that, but again, like realistically, right now, trying to do this,
If not
I
now,
don't,
then
I don't
when?
advise it. I mean, the other way you could do it is if there are enough people that are demanding something like this, then the change happening is more likely. But how do
I
you
mean,
organize that enough people to actually
I mean,
put something like this
how
in?
you'd
if
have to
people
start
are
in
just getting
college.
immediately
Yeah, yeah,
rejected
exactly.
doing this, then like you say, you can't do this now, but it's like you could say that for the next 50 years.
No, no, not by now. I meant wait, what? For somebody starting off.
I see.
Yeah,
Okay, I see what you mean. Like in that position versus if you've been established for.
yeah.
All right, yeah, I thought you meant just in general, like the state of the world. Like if not, it like now is in like to give it like another few years or something. I see what you mean.
And to be fair, if we were to looking at it like that, from like things take time to progress. Maybe you start with 7, not 5, but that's kind of getting down to the nitty
I mean,
gritty.
I do appreciate that a more extreme
I mean, you gotta
demand
haggle.
will get you. Yeah, it will get you.
I just think there's
Closer with
even I can acknowledge there's a drastic difference between what you said 5 hours, so 25 hours a week opposed to 40. Like that 15 is yeah, that's it would be like I'm trying to I don't know, we're not going to turn this into a whole interview, but like I could imagine if I'm in the seat of the person that's trying to, they can't believe they demanded request 5 hours work weeks. You could ask like, so within your organization, do you ever find that your employees have downtime or times in which projects can't progress, or things just kind of standard jargon. And
Mm,
I think that you find that well, the response probably would be something relative to like, yeah, but we do have certain processes in place where we try to mitigate that, and we're constantly trying to improve our process.
mhm.
I think a compelling argument could be made. I don't know, from an intern, but from somebody that is very has some level of expertise in the and has looked at some level of data to support this, but 8 hours isn't really reflective of the amount of time that's required to commit to complete the jobs, the task at hand.
Mm.
But again, I think your point about how there's really no evidence of that if you're just coming in from college or while you're in college is no company is gonna take
Right.
a
It's
gamble
like
on that.
it's something I feel that you don't try until like you've been with the company for a little while, like at least a year. You've proven that um you got a grasp on all the processes. You've maybe even made efficiency improvements and things like that. And then it's like um a if there's quarterly reviews or if you're actually getting a promotion or something like that, that's the time where I feel like you bring something like that up. Not
That would be fire. Instead of a raise, you say, "Hey, let me just get less hours."
yeah. That I could get more behind.
Um, yeah, no, you're making a whole lot of sense. Do you have anything for that, Ghost? Since you're more or less on the opposite side of things, is that making sense, or are you still like, nah, dog, the 40 hours ain't it?
Uh, I don't know. I mean, like I get all that, but it's like the thought that it's so unrealistic and crazy and wild that 5 hours a day versus 8 is like it's brought up, and then we all just immediately just like say that's completely unreasonable. I just think it's funny how well people in general, everyone's been just conditioned to the 40-hour work week, and it's kind of crazy to be honest, like how there's like no real opposition to it, and it is what it is at this
Oh, it
point.
seems like they're starting to be.
Yeah, there is more and more, but I mean it hasn't been like this for like thousands of years or something.
Yeah. I mean, it was worse, but before
Well,
that, it was probably
it's
better.
different though. I think we kind of discussed it before, but it's different because you kind of worked more, but you worked for yourself essentially on stuff that is actually productive versus helping to get someone else richer. Like you can work double your time and you're not gonna change your life significantly for 99% of people. So I get what you're saying, but I don't know. I don't really have anything more to add. It's just
I will add one slightly optimistic thing in my mind. I still think AI is gonna throw a wrench in a lot of this stuff.
Oh
Like,
Lord.
I think things are really gonna drastically change in the
I
very
think
near
it's going to get
future.
worse because if companies feel like they don't have to hire as much employees because of AI, that means less people are working.
I don't know.
And,
I mean, yeah,
and jobs are at even more of a premium. I don't think that it's going to happen, to be honest. It's not going to help us. It sure is going to help companies. But
Y'all already know how I feel, so I'm right there with you. It's gonna get crazy.
yeah.
Yeah, I even though it's kind of a pessimistic walk away from it, I think you're largely right, Ace. But I do think there is a lot of value in challenging these things. The fact that this turned to a whole, back and forth. There is a level of and people have always felt that like, a lot of companies are preventing a good work life balance, even though a lot of these companies also in the same breath promote like they do have that or they do want that, but they don't really allow for that with some of these with some of the standards that they have. So yeah, I mean, hey man, it's uphill battle, but if enough people keep, maybe not at the intern level, maybe I think that because
Yeah.
we're all hardworking brothers in here, we've all been working for a while now, and 40 hours is a good week, whether we're programmed for that at all or whatever the case may be, or experienced before you go and make those type of requests and demands. Demands is crazy to me, but salute to everybody that does want to invoke some level of change. But there's nothing else. We can move on to the next topic. What even is the next topic? Oh, Lord. Yeah, have those two up. Thank you. Okay, where do you start? I guess rest in peace. So, the name of the company, Piki? Is that how you say it? Okay. One chip challenge product to be pulled from the shelves following death of a teenager. So I guess I'll just read some of this to start off. I got a couple things to say about this. Also scroll over. I think there's one other part to it. It might have been the story about the actual brother death. Yeah. So this brother was actually from Massachusetts, interestingly enough. for a 14-year-old Massachusetts teen passes away shortly after partaking in the viral one chip challenge. So it says. Piki, the tortilla chip company responsible for people participating in the one chip challenge, is pulling their product from retail shelves, according to the New York Times. The company spoke out and made the move following the death of a teenager whose family said he died after consuming the chip. If you recall, 14-year-old Harris Woolaba, my apologies for mispronouncing, I usually am, participating in the one chip challenge on Friday. His mother, Lois Woolaba, said she was notified by a school nurse at Dorothy Memorial High School that her son had fainted after eating the chip. Harris was picked up from school, and by 4 p.m., family members reportedly found the teen passed out. In a statement from on the website, the company stated the Piki One Chip Challenge is intended for adults only. Interesting, with clear and prominent label highlighting the chip is not for children and other sensitive groups. It continues, we have seen an increase in teens and other individuals heeding these warnings. As a result, the company added, heeding these warnings.
Not heeding these warnings.
Not heeding these warnings, thank you. As a result, the company added it will be working with retailers to remove the product from shelves out of an abundance of caution. So, a super unfortunate incident that happened not too long ago. Again, a young brother passed from either from or they're surrounding eating the chip. Again, like they mentioned, is a super viral video. I've seen many streamers participate in this challenge, and yeah, it's without even needing to. I've actually seen this in gas stations too, but without even having ever consumed it myself, I can tell this chip is absolutely a challenge, and it's probably one of the more uncomfortable things you can consume. That being said, the company was very clear in their statement that they shows it on the thing. You probably can't see it. Yeah, if you have actual packaging in front of you or you looked it up, I can absolutely imagine there's a huge warning label on the thing, and like I said, so this doesn't allude to the fact that the parents or the family will go after the company. But what do y'all think? Do you think the company has any liability and or should feel that they need to pull the product down following something like this? Or do you think it really is incumbent on the consumer to be aware of these type of things? And do you think like the virality, it's like the cinnamon challenge. Like everything is just a culmination of like, you see it online, the reactions are funny, hee hee ha ha, hey, let's, and then a group of stoners, and to be honest, I can't even recall us participating in. I'm gonna get tossed, but anyway, a group of people. Hey, let's put it on the camera. Hey, let's do the check and do it without coughing, and then everyone has a grand old laugh. But this time it resulted in actual consequences. So what do y'all make of this? What do you think, guys? Do you think the company is like should be pulling these things down, or do you think people should just be smarter?
Damn. This is tough. Yeah.
It could just be your opinion thing. We're obviously not legal experts here. You know, if the company is making like a legal decision, it's just what you think.
Yeah. I feel like I lean toward the side of not having to pull the product. And the reason I say this is because if the food or whatever isn't I don't know, like poisonous or anything like that, and it got FDA approval and there is the labeling, what more does the company need to do? Like, should they just never have released something like this? Also, granted that I haven't looked it up or not, but I almost feel like if eating ghost peppers became like a huge viral challenge again, you'd almost be guaranteed to have at least one person die from it if it became as viral as something like this. And does that mean nobody can eat ghost peppers anymore? Like, I don't I don't I have a hard time drawing a line given that we allow people to consume things that are dangerous but um not inherently lethal.
Yeah.
So yeah, I have a hard time saying the company just completely needs to shut down whenever somebody, that's hard to say, but like somebody dies after consuming um their product. I don't know.
Yeah, no, I think it's relatively human to like look at the situation and think it's super super tragic and like this does suck and maybe should be some level of change like making the labels bigger or maybe putting out an ad to specify some level of hey, don't consume this, don't consume, even though the thing is I'm going back and forth in my one sentence. It's literally called the one chip challenge.
Yep,
This
yep.
company is producing a chip, a product that they know people are going to. I don't know if they know how viral it's going to be, but they know people are going to participate. This like it's a challenge, it's like the cinnamon challenge, like any other challenge that's come before. So I wonder if that factor feeds into like, hey, we're putting out something that's inherently like a fear factor challenge, like it's kind of dangerous.
But that's the point. Like obviously
But should companies be doing that?
the yeah, I know. The thing going viral is in the favor of the company, but that's their product to go viral. Like you want to get sales from people consuming or people sharing and consuming. So
What do you think of the aspect? And I'm gonna get to you real quick, Ghost, but what do you think of the aspect that challenges are usually favored and viewed by younger
no,
individuals?
that's a great point.
Because
Um
ain't no 30-year-olds running to try the chip challenge.
yeah, that's true. That is true. I don't know. I don't know. I
Hey
get
man,
Ghost on this. This is a tough
we
one.
here to have the tough conversations because nobody else will. Yeah, Ghost, what do you think of this? You think the company is in the not wrong, but you think they are liable and they should start pulling down products and making moves like that, or do you think people need to be relabeled regardless of their age?
So to preface, obviously,
Oh yeah, real quick. Sorry. Yeah, we were actually talking about this beforehand, and I wasn't. I wasn't. I think West did actually potentially mention trying this. If you watch our first episode,
man,
we're no stranger to challenges. We actually go. If you haven't, go back and watch our first episode. That's on the channel, and you'll see. We actually did a hot soup challenge. Spoiler alert. I won't spoil it.
can you imagine if we did this and one of us died?
But we're talking about this, and apparently, I don't know if you always felt this way, but and you're not you. Well, I don't know if it's not possible anymore, but you're not for the chip challenge at all. You weren't for it. And if I brought it on here, we're gonna do it. You're not with it. So I guess,
No.
yeah, interesting. Where do you stand? Do you stand with the company being at fault, or do you stand with like people gotta be smarter?
So, as I was saying to preface, condolences to brother's family. Sucks that he died. That being said, companies shouldn't have to pull this. I think they should have zero liability, and I don't think they did anything wrong. Because if this is on shelves, it got FDA approval, like Ace mentioned, and if cause of death like isn't specifically known, like how do you know it's not just an allergic reaction to one
I
of the ingredients in it? Like,
mean, if the brother ate the chip and then that same day
bro, okay, you could
passed.
say the same thing if it was a Snickers bar and he ate it and died because he had a peanut allergy that he wasn't aware of until he ate it. It's like almost the same exact scenario, except peanut allergies or deaths from peanut allergies happen way more frequently than death from the hot chip challenge. Like, if this chip was killing people consistently, you would hear about it. Like, I'm assuming this is the first person that's died from this challenge,
Yeah,
and
this
now
is
people are saying
definitely a
they're-
one-off incident.
how many millions of these chips have been sold and have been eaten? Like that's for one incident, and like I don't remember statistics class much, but it's a very infinitesimally small chances or risk of death
Yes, we
for
know
one.
statistically it's in the favor of the company, but the thing is, we're talking about humans and death. Like, people don't really care about statistics, or people care less about statistics when the result is human life.
Well, yeah, I get that, but people don't really understand like almost anything you eat can kill you. Like almost everything you eat has some level of toxins or carcinogens or something. Like there's always going to be some level of risk, and I get that if the risk isn't, if you can mitigate the risk and if it has a chance of killing someone.
Most food's not gonna kill you on the spot, especially food that you can buy in the stores.
Again, I go back to the peanut incident. Like people have a whole lot of food allergies. Like almost anything can kill you if you're allergic to it. Like
Yeah,
it's
gluten is a pretty
almost
extreme
any
example.
any food.
That is
I'm
a
just not-
really solid example, but as you mentioned, it's such a common thing. I think like most people are very well aware that they have an allergy, and obviously even those
Are they like who's unless he was tested? How would he if he had an allergy to ghost pepper or something? How would he know? What if it's
I do
like
feel like
I
I
don't
know
think
multiple people who have discovered lactose intolerance later in life.
I think the more common the allergy is, the more likely it is to be known. I think they might even, in this day and age, test you like very early on to see if you have a
Right.
reaction to certain things like that. And I'm not
There's
trying to
a chance
escape
that it's
that. Sorry, go ahead.
I'm just saying, like, there's a chance that it's a very rare allergy that not a lot of people have. He could have had it. Like, it's
Or even not even an allergy too. Like if he had any type of asthma or trouble breathing or anything like that, and this put him in a state where it exacerbated that thing,
Yeah.
that could also
I mean, I obviously don't know, but I just don't think that the company should be liable for this one in however million chance that I mean, obviously very unfortunate situation, but the warnings are on the label. Like it's FDA approved. I mean, beyond that, it's I just don't I don't think that it's that the company should be obligated to do anything, because it doesn't make like again going back to the peanut people die. So many people go to the hospital or die from peanut allergies.
I don't know about the dying part, but it definitely impacts a
A,
lot of
a,
people.
a lot of people, well, relative to the hot chip, I should say, a lot of people have died from this or some type of allergy, and a lot of the times people just aren't aware that they have it until it's too late. But just because one allergy is well known, again, I don't even know if this is this case of an allergy or what, but
Without knowing the full facts of the story, I would more so akin to what you're saying. Is I think the condition that the person's in when they're consuming this, that could probably play more of a factor into how much it will impact them. Yeah, ultimately, yeah, it's super sad, and I don't necessarily always like talking about sadder topics, but hey, man, it is what it is. And obviously, the company made their decision, so it's not much you can say on that. But I think the bigger more of the story is, while we all get caught up in things that are viral, we do have to, step back and, it's kind of hard when it's younger individuals, but you do have to have some level of like conscious, like take heed to certain things. I mean, I don't know, that's a message that's very hard to get across when you're just looking at your favorite streamer or favorite TikToker doing a challenge. You're like, oh, I want to do that too.
yeah,
Go
no
ahead.
matter what, there's always a new generation coming up that's gonna think they're invincible.
Word is bond.
It's inevitable.
and it just looks funny. Obviously us as like kind of semi older people, we look at that stuff. We can look at it as foolish, and we're not tempted to try it in most cases. But I 100% get the mindset of a young individual watching this, and then they go with their friends, and they just want to try it too. So I don't know if this is more light, or you could even say this is even darker. But one chip challenge adjacent. Go over to the next one. Is I don't know what people's impression of me, but I love to give people the benefit of the doubt, especially younger folks, because we all were young. We've all had to hit our heads on, or burn our hands on the stove. We're stiff necked, like the scriptures say. Like humans, we're not good people. This individual, King Harris, and if you're familiar with the Harris name, yes, this is T.I., aka Tips, aka the Legend of the South, the King of the South, son. If you don't know this individual, a lot of people feel as that first comment you see, in that this person said he's a disgrace to young black men after saying the negative-ish he did to the homeless man. This is an individual that's raised by a rapper, and obviously, we're all reflective of our influence. I'm just trying to give you guys some context. But he grew up a very what's the word I'm looking for? Affluent lifestyle. Like, he didn't have to struggle. Good schools. Obviously, to some degree, he does want to follow in his father's footsteps and be an artist. But when you see how this individual acts, so some of the things he does, and this is just one thing, so don't come in here and think and just hate him just because of what I'm saying or even this video. I'm just saying he does have a reputation for doing a lot of foolish things. He's relatively young. How old is he? Just to give a bit of context, I'll pull that up. But while I'm pulling that up, I'll also see if I can read. So, King Harris is starting to receive some criticism online after sharing a video of him offering an unhoused individual $50 to participate in the Key One Chip Challenge. The challenge recently went viral and was pulled off from shelves after the 14-year-old died shortly after doing chips. So this was after the event of the young brother passing. Obviously, just because they were pulling the events doesn't mean they got him all. This happened like several months ago, so he might have even been 18. Just to give you some context. So let's the comments kind of said exactly what he did, but let's play the video.
Different flavor, but it's still hot. So look, there you go, $50, 5 minutes. 5 minutes. Oh,
You gotta eat the whole thing.
oh, get out here.
Eat the whole chip. The 5 minutes ain't gonna start until you swallow it now. You gotta swallow that.
Ain't nothing in there, huh? Ain't nothing in there. Let me see. Nah, ain't nothing in here. All right, come on. Come on, OG.
Yep.
Open your mouth when you swallow it.
And that's the new kind.
Yeah, this I ain't never seen this mother.
Yeah, I got five.
Ooh-wee.
Like that. How you feeling?
It's alright. Ain't hot.
Nah, you can't drink no
You can't drink it yet though. You can't drink it yet though.
Keep going.
Wait 5 minutes.
Actually,
If you need some milk, whatever you need after you lose, I'll buy it for you. But you know what I'm saying?
You know.
Oh, God.
Oh, wait.
Man, that's probably a snap for Unc, man.
Ooh, it make it harder with that water in your hand.
Hot chip challenge.
Look at face.
Oh, wee.
Oh my God.
Oh, hey, you gonna lose if you drink it.
He cried. You can't drink it. You can't ain't gonna make your money.
Not yet.
The time on. You ain't gonna make your money, man.
You
got 3 minutes left. You got 4 minutes, cause I was already recording on the minute. Yeah. You got 4 minutes left.
Oh, wait.
I just feel uncomfortable even watching that, to be honest. Like, I don't know.
Damn. Is there any more? I mean, I know there's more, but are all
There's a
those
lot
like
more.
are all those slides the video or is there any like comments? Okay. Yeah, let's just finish it up. I mean, actually, it's probably more the list, more the same. So some people are saying, some of the backlash, as they said, why do y'all like to harass people who already have nothing? Just give them the bare minimum. Like, be for real, though, bro. Oh, God, think pieces. But this is how people really feel. So at Duff Juice 30 said, let's have a moment of honesty with Tip. That's T.I. Pardon me, Cliff, but your son has a problem. He needs discipline. He needs guidance. He needs to mature. And most of all, he needs his ass beat. Stop recording yourself saying and doing dumb-ish. See, you sound pretty educated when you speak, so I don't know how that level of education and maturity didn't trickle down to his son, to this kid. He's going to end up coming across a real N-word in the street who will do him dirty. Bring him in the house and put him on punishment. This is corny as hell. And is a reflection of the household he was brought up in. He ain't tough at all. Teach him something before the streets do. Anything else? Hopefully no more think pieces. This is why I bring people, homeless people for likes and views. Comment little Reese pouring water. Okay, yeah, so more of the same. Did anyone give him any support, sympathy? Okay, so they're just reflecting back to the fact that the young brother passed. So I don't know if this is I mean, I know this is not another topic worth of conversation.
Did you say this was more lighthearted?
No.
Bro, what?
Or did I? Maybe I did.
I think you said something like that.
Oh, yeah, because it is. No one died.
Yeah, this is depressing to watch.
Amen. I want to say these are our peers, but obviously, no. Anyway, but it did happen. Oof. I mean, what do you even make of this? Do you think there's any level of grace that you can give to the young brother? Again, he's 18, 19 years old. He's with his crew. They're having a grand old time. We've all seen a homeless brother outside of a gas station or outside of the corner store, and he said he'll do something strange for a little change. And I would be reaching for the stars to see if I could like come up with any rationale, any hot chip devil's advocate for how this was anyway right, but I don't know. What do y'all think of this? What do you think causes behavior like this? And do you think he should be punished in any regard, or do you think he was really just trying to help the homeless and also maybe make content out of it? I guess it's kind of the much real interpretation of it. What do you think? What do you think is?
The crazy part is, like, I don't even think it would have mattered if it was a hot chip or if it was just like anything. Like, making content out of homeless people, for any reason it feels wrong. Like,
yeah, people don't like that.
Yeah, it wouldn't matter what the challenge was. It's just you ask them to do 20 push-ups or something, it would still feel wrong. Like, that's just messed up. And
I mean, maybe I should be able to vocalize like
why more succinctly, but I don't know. That's hard to put into words. Like, it feels indecent. It feels exploitative. Even if you're giving the guy money at the end, like doing something. I mean, I guess it comes down to very simply, even if you're doing it, with the purpose of giving the person money at the end, like say it's a challenge and the person losing, you're still planning to give them the money. You filming it, it's very much goes back to being truly charitable, or truly giving something out the bottom of your heart. You don't want anybody else to know, like, or that should be your mentality. Like, doing something out of an actual charitable mentality. It shouldn't be something where you're trying to profit off of it. Mm-hmm. So just in that basic way, I think it feels wrong. And then to go to the extent of making content out of somebody that's struggling, like just struggling in the way that they're homeless, it just feels so disrespectful. It's just wrong, man. Lack of lack of empathy, lack of just I don't know. It just feels wrong, man.
So you think like even with the timing of everything, like with this chip with the product in question, it would still be a bad look, or do you think it was like just that video in general?
No, I think regardless of the chip thing happening, I think.
Oh yeah, because like you said, even when people make people do push-ups and things.
Yeah, anything.
Yeah. Fair enough. What about? I mean, I already know where it's going. What about you, Ghost? Do you have any kind of saving grace for the brother's age? Whether it's this is the thing of the generation to do stuff like that, or do you think it's all bad?
Oh, I think Ace pretty much generalized it. If I had to put a word or explain why it's so fucked up, it's like you're treating someone like they're subhuman, like they're an animal or
it's definitely dehumanizing,
or an insect. Like when you're pissing on, not that I've done so, like when you're pissing on ants or something, like just doing shit for the fun of it when you literally don't see the other person as a human being. So it's extremely messed up, but I don't want to cut him bail necessarily, but I kind of have to. A good amount of blame has to be placed on the parenting because, well, for one, some people are just like screwed up, and there's no amount of parenting that can fix them. They're born a certain way with sadistic tendencies, and you're not gonna fix that. I'm not saying that this dude is like that, but just speaking in general. And young kids, he's 19, so he ain't that young, but they're bound to be crueler, I guess, than more mature people. And a lot of times people just egged on by their friends and not even stopping to consider the person. Like, what you're doing is fucked up. They're just thinking it's funny. But if you're doing this, no matter what excuses are out there, you like, not only are you fucked up, but something went wrong in the teaching. Like, your child, unless again they were just born extremely sadistic, like a sociopath with no feelings.
Y'all don't think it's on the level of that now?
No, I'm not talking about this guy in particular, but this dude. But it's kind of close because, again, I'm not trying to condemn him necessarily because what he did was fucked up. I'm not saying he's like irredeemable evil person, but do an action like that is on that path to being like just it's fucked. Like,
it is on the spectrum of like a person that has a an emotional or a stable mindset probably won't be doing these type of things. I can understand that.
If you're doing something like this, you can't have been taught well, again, unless, again, I've said it a million times, if some things just no amount of parenting can fix, but a lot of the times it's how you were raised, what you were taught is right, or what not to do to people, just basic human decency. And if you're doing this with your friends for a laugh, like T.I. or whoever his parents are, they did something wrong, bro. Like, you gotta do something to fix that. Although at this point it might be too late because he's damn near grown ass man at this point. But yeah, I don't.
What I will say is, I actually don't think it's too late for the dude.
Yeah, I don't know that at all.
I actually think that there's a high probability that he sees the backlash of this and he understands that he messed up and actually comes to the realization about how, like you said, dehumanizing the act that he did was. I do think there's a high probability of that because he's an adult, but he is still young. But it is like it does feel shocking that somebody his age would do something like this. But yeah, I mean, I don't think it's like there's no hope for the dude or anything like that. It's just It is crazy, and I didn't know this was T.I.'s son, but it is like, wow, this is it is kind of shocking that it would be T.I.'s son that would be doing something like this. Like you would, I mean, I don't know. I'm obviously not familiar with him, but
Yeah, obviously,
kind of expect that.
not that you should be or anything like that. I'm completely on your side about this. Is obviously not the end of the world. Like, I think for a guy, you have up until like we might disagree on like 24 to 23 before like you really like can't be making these type of dumb decisions. But at the same breath, just to give you some more context, this is not his first rodeo around getting backlash. This is a young brother that's been arrested before, and
Okay.
when people when we got backlash because why are you doing these things when you were raised in a household where you had every single opportunity ever? He was pretty what's the word, rebellious towards it. Like, y'all just don't know my life. Y'all can't really speak on me
Oh,
type of
okay.
attitude.
Okay. That makes it
So
worse.
So he's
yeah,
basically just on his way to being the Joker. Then got it.
I'm not. That is kind of yeah. He's definitely not respected in this current climate, and there was never any. I googled it. There was never any follow up apology. Not that he has to apologize to the public, but there was no follow up like I'm remorseful. So again, I don't think he's outside of the redemption, but this incident's not going to change it around. It didn't change it around, and it's not going to change it around. What was he arrested for? What was he arrested? Pull it up. No, I don't know. I don't want to waste your time. It was for like some relatively minor charges. Yeah, it wasn't anything crazy. But yeah, yeah. I was gonna say, well, sometimes we can't have like very conclusive or satisfying like advice that comes out of any of this. For better or for worse, some of these things that we bring on here that we consume does kind of really wake your eyes up to like what this world is like, and like this gives you a glimpse into like what we need to do on our individual levels to make sure we steer clear of stuff like this and make sure us and people we surround ourselves are on a path that we would agree with or would like to be in. Not that I hope anybody comes to this podcast to find news or anything like I hope none of this stuff is ever surprising to people. But enough on this. I don't think there's any more to glean. We can move on to the next topic. Oh, so this is the last joint. Okay. What are we? We're damn near 2 hours.
Oh, jeez.
Y'all got a little more gas in you?
Yeah, let's do it.
All right. So, I forgot to do. I want to get the full because I need to give this sister a credit. Eboni K. Williams. If you don't know, you should know. Eboni K. Williams is a literal lawyer. They've been in the field of law for umpteenth years. They also are well versed to entertainment. They've had their own talk show. They've been on late night shows. They've done multiple interviews. Eboni K. Williams is a person who says exactly what she want to say, and she don't really care what people are gonna respond with. Well, people might. I brought up some stuff to give her some context. What people may know her for in recent times is she was the individual who came out and said, at my stage in life, I wouldn't be dating any bus drivers, because people were talking about her as far as fraud relationships. Also, to give you some more context, this is a woman that's been married and divorced and has spoke out about her struggles, for lack of a better term. This is also a woman that's 4 years old. She can provide more context. I'm just trying to give you guys a good picture if you don't know, not you guys, but everyone in general. So yeah, they've spoken on their relationship. This is a woman that's incredibly successful, and there's always a stereotype that successful women may or may not struggle in the world of relationships because all the dynamics that come with that. So very educated, super successful in the world of her law and of entertainment. Just speaking from what I consume, As I've said before, I'm not necessarily a fan of any one, but the closest thing I would be to a person like this, a person that says their hot takes and don't care what anybody got to say about it. And when I heard this, I was like, dang, because this is right off, like, people still remember that she said that stuff about the bus drivers. And I don't, in case you missed it, for some reason or another, they did get backlash because they said they said it in a way that, like, people, like, blue collar workers are, like, beneath her, or however you want to interpret that. But anyway, so she's back with another hot take, very controversial take. Again, this is like the theme of this episode, another, like, we've heard this a million times, and we're hearing it again. So this is a tweet by the Griot. This is the platform that she was on when she said the comments, and it said, "Are you familiar with the MRS degree? A viral TikTok sparked much conversations about how white women go to college to secure the ring by spring," which is allegedly an expression, but that isn't usually on the black woman's agendas when attending college. So without further ado, let's hear what the sister had to say. And it's like 2 minutes, so we might stop and start. So just be on that ace. But I do like to let things play out so you can get the full context. But let's start.
The reality that needs to be said out loud is that as black men age, their desirability increases.
Stop.
Thus, their optionality.
Let that sink in. Just feel good have somebody acknowledge it. Play it.
Of women is always expanding. And the exact opposite is true for black women. As we age, doesn't matter how much money we accumulate, our degrees or professional accolades, the reality is that our marriage and partnership market value is depreciating with every passing year. No matter how good we look, no matter how fit we are, men are still seeing primarily our presumed dwindling fertility as a knock against us. And speaking of fertility, that is another reason that I want younger black women to seek marriage and partnership in college or right after, if that's what they choose.
Pause.
Because the number of...
So, again, some of these are just kind of just to break it up. But so they've explained the premise of what they're talking about. They've also explained, I don't know if you missed it, their target audience in this message. Because, again, as you got the feeling of it, this is some controversial. She's saying, like, black women as they get older and more successful are seen as less attractive, which we may or may not get into right now. But so saying some controversial hot takes type crud. But they did explain their core audience talking to young women who, at some point, would like to be married. So just keep that in mind. Go ahead, play it.
Of college-educated black men are so low when compared to black college-educated women that we're all, on most campuses, there's like 7 black women students for every 1 black man student. Y'all do the math. So here's my advice. If you are a young black woman in college and you know in your heart and in your head that you want to prioritize family, I suggest that you simultaneously pursue that MRS degree right along with that BA or JD. Because the handful of black college-age men that actually do desire to get married soon, and they do share that value system, and family is a priority for them too, y'all, that is an incredibly small pool, and it's shrinking as you get older. And by the time you reach my age, 40, you will be faced with different choices relating to life partnership and motherhood. Pause. Now, I'm not saying that delay...
Have you ever heard a woman be so open and honest about the reality? She's saying, "Hey fam, this is the reality and I can speak to it." And for anyone that didn't know what an MRS degree, like I didn't, it's, I guess, like a kind of joking thing, but it stands for like like marriage.
Mrs. It's just
It's Mrs.
Oh, I thought it really stood for like marriage something. But yeah, okay. Oh, Mrs. degree, I like that. Used to refer to a marriage or engagement of a woman pursuing higher education or at a college or university. Okay, go ahead.
Now, I'm not saying that delaying marriage or motherhood is a bad option, but it's one that comes with its own consequences. And our women deserve to know on the front end of their decision making instead of on the back half.
Salute to Eboni K. Williams. I've said it a million times and I'll say it again. again, a person who, whenever they do an interview, I'm usually tuned in. Again, a lot, even more than stuff like this, because this isn't her usual rhetoric. Again, they do bring a lot of perspective when it comes to different topics from a law sense, because again, they are a lawyer. Yeah, so just keep that in mind. I don't know what the temperature of the room is for us right now, but again, this was seen as a hot take. 1 million people had a. I don't know if there's a need to, because I don't want to take too much time. She actually went on the Breakfast Club following these comments, and she was going back and forth with somebody that had some disagreements with this. Go over to the next one. Maybe we can maybe in the first clip they just kind of expressed maybe they hear what the problem that a black and brown woman had. So let's see if swipe over. I just kind of want to see if we can find a clip of what they said, but we'll play some of it.
Ladies, and I texted my good friend Charlamagne. I said, as a friend to the show, I heard the nature of it, and I said, since I'm down the street on the train, let me pull up and I want to hear from you, Lauren, about what you agree with and what you disagree with, and have a ladies conversation about it.
Let's do it. So the disagreeing for me, the market value, the appreciating. So with the infertility, I know I said this yesterday, some stuff is science, right? You can't get around that. But I feel like when you start with that and you lead with that, it then makes people get defensive and they don't even hear the rest of it. I know when I first listened to it, I was like, oh God, this is going to be another one of those conversations where like someone's telling me as a woman, by the time you get this age, your life is over. And, when you're trying to figure things out and you're like, I'm 31 years old, right? Like, I'm recently out of a very long relationship. As a woman, as a black woman, right? Especially working.
Okay, so you start to get a taste of what the backlash is coming from, the disagreements, the disagreeing sentiment. For better or for worse, I don't want to say unfortunately, it does sound like the age-old, I don't like how you said this thing or how you approached it, and it made me want to be dismissive of the entire message. And you guys can correct me if that's what you guys are gathering from that. Maybe listen to one more. I think Ebony starts to respond. To be honest, and she starts clapping back. So I guess we can listen to a little more if you guys feel it's necessary.
Yeah, one more.
And I might not get that other chance. Like I gotta do it right the first time. And I think
you're talking about professionally,
professionally and personally.
Okay.
But I just feel like when you lead with the stuff that you lead with, it instantly turns the conversation negative. And for someone like me who is watching and learning and listening to you, it makes it where now I am defensive. I don't want to watch, listen, and learn. I don't hear the rest of what you're saying. So now I'm not being taught, and I should feel like I can listen to you and learn from you and not feel like you're the op.
So I want to just go back actually to your first point, Lauren, which I think you are conceding that you had a reaction to my commentary that was so visceral in nature that you actually shut down your listening comprehension skills.
Yeah.
You said that.
Yeah.
Okay. So because of that though, right? I'm not going to sit in a posture of ownership because you made a choice to be limited in the way in which you received and processed the information. Now, you are a grown woman and you have autonomy over what you choose to consume.
Man, did I say exclusive to Eboni K. Williams? Anyway, so yeah. So you already get to get a sense of what her response would be, and to the response of, hey, I don't really like the sound of what you're saying. I ain't trying to hear this. It's making me want to get defensive and not really want to hear what you have to say. So just give you guys, a well-rounded idea of what's going on, what she originally said, what other people were saying, and what her defense was originally. Now, after I first heard this, I like engaging in certain conversations and just kind of hearing what people say, looking at comments. I kind of did dial it back down. I was even questioning whether to even bring this because fundamentally, this, even though she did bring up the fact that black men, age like wine and we get better as we age, it really don't have anything to do with men. This is broadly speaking, a woman's conversation, and I'm not in the business of saying that men can't have conversations and women can't have conversations about men. This was a carefree conversation that's beneficial to have between women, I guess specifically black women, but whatever the case may be. But we are a podcast about giving advice, so we are going to take a small stab at it. Where the hell is my notes? I had a question. What do y'all briefly, think about the comments? Do you think they are in any way negative? And more importantly, do you think what she's saying is feasible based off where men are at the stage that of the audience that she's talking to? She's talking about young women, young black women that are in the midst of pursuing or about to pursue their educational or career development. Do you think it makes sense to do that with the where quote unquote black and brown men are at that time in their life? Let's start with you, Ace. What do you think?
Um.
Sorry if that was a lot. I can repeat anything, obviously, if needed.
No, it's cool. I think, like you said, this is such a woman-centric conversation that it does make it a little difficult to comment on it. But I will say, I feel like I mentioned this recently. Like, I do place value on, trying to start get married and start a family at a younger age if possible, rather than waiting. I place that value on men just as much as women, because of the the responsibility that it gives you, the sense of responsibility, and the I don't know, just like the kind of like the life lessons you learn from that, the perspective you get from that. It's all very valuable, and I think the earlier you can get that, I think the more well-rounded of a person you probably become. So I place a lot of value on it, and
just to be clear, I don't want to interrupt too much, but that is based off if you want and are prepared for that to some degree, though.
Yeah. I will say that. Yeah, yeah. If you don't want it, and definitely if you're not prepared to a certain extent, because you could also, I think it's very easy to postpone unnecessarily as well. So, but yeah, either way, that's my general thoughts around that. So just from that perspective, I definitely agree. And then, the thing she's saying about the pool of men dwindling from a woman's perspective as they age, I can definitely understand it. And not to get too jokey, but it does feel like kind of a Kevin Samuels type comment.
Amen.
But yeah, either way,
some people called him crazy while he was alive, and now that he's dead, he's a prophet.
Yeah. But no,
Kevin Samuels wants a podcast at this point. It's actually pretty crazy.
What'd you say?
I said y'all bring up Kevin Samuels like once a podcast at this point. It's pretty crazy.
Yeah. But yeah, no, I think this is just generally, it's a good message to get out to younger people, because I think there is a sense of, putting your career first, trying to get your career in order, get your life together and all this stuff before you get married. And it's like, I'm included, that I think we're missing out on by doing that. And to a certain extent, I do think it's unnecessarily. So, I talked about this recently, I think with you guys, about how we go to a cookout now, and it's like there's barely any little kids running around versus back when we were young. Yeah, versus back when we were young, it was all little kids running around, all of us playing with our cousins and all that stuff. So it's wild to see how things have reversed, and you can't necessarily say whether it's 100% good or it's 100% bad, but at the same time, I do think there is some value that we're missing out
I
on.
mean, it's bad from a population standpoint.
Yeah,
But obviously, you might be talking more sentimental, like just the fact that you don't really get the enjoyment.
yeah. I mean, even if you think about it from a population standpoint, do we know that the population slowing down is necessarily a bad thing for society? Like, I don't think we necessarily know that for
Well,
sure.
we're not trying to get too meta, but at the end of the day, we do need a constant, steady population.
I mean, the global population's been growing for literally ever and will continue.
Yeah, it'll still continue to grow, and I don't know if
all it takes is one generation to slow it down.
it's
not
slowed down, but it's not like we're stopping. So what I'm saying is, I don't know for sure if the trend right now is necessarily just a completely bad thing, but I do know, or I do feel anyway, that there's value that our generation who is postponing a family is kind of like missing out on.
Fair enough. I guess before we get to the second point, briefly speaking, what are your thoughts on what they said, Ghost?
I
think it was a hot take. Think it was a hot take, warrant the backlash, or you think it was really just like some standard solid advice?
I kind of agree. Well, I'd say in general, I do agree with what she said. From a logical standpoint, I can see why there was some backlash, especially from women, because the way she framed it kind of made it seem, I don't want to say like desperate or hopeless, but it was kind of maybe more negative than what the actual cases are. And she would know better than I would.
To tell somebody if you want something and you're doing something that's kind of against it.
The way she presented the facts and all that, it's like the stuff she said was true, but it shouldn't be like you're forced. If you want to get into a relationship, if you want to get married, have kids, you shouldn't feel like you're forced to do that by this certain deadline or in this certain.
You have a deadline.
What'd you say?
But you do have a deadline. It's like literally like a homework assignment. Like just how the homework assignments do it at 11:59, you have a biological due date. Like it gotta be. You have a window.
I don't necessarily agree with that. I mean, you do, like, your menopause and all that.
What are you disagreeing with specifically?
I'm disagreeing with the sentiment that it has to be done by, like, the way she was framing it. Like, it has to be done in college.
From a woman's perspective who has gone through it.
I said she would know better than I would, but
how can you disagree with it? I still don't understand what the disagreement is.
So because I'm not a woman, I just have to agree with it because I don't know better?
No, because it's literal scientific, biological...
Scientific facts that women enter menopause around 50, but that doesn't...
It's not just menopause. Women has a finite number of eggs, and as you get older, you have less and less chance to bring a child to term.
Yeah, and then when you hit menopause, it stops. Like that's your actual deadline. Like that's. I don't get why.
But it gets slower as you get older.
But how are you pushing back on this? Menopause is literally when women are unable to have children.
I'm not pushing back. I'm still trying to find the disagreement, the literal disagreement. That's all I'm trying to do right now.
Well, I'm confused at this point.
You said you disagree with her on she's bringing up the fact that women have a due date deadline.
No, I disagree with her in that it shouldn't be a deadline to be done while you're in college, or it's not going to happen. That's not what she said word by word, and I'm not trying to misrepresent that, but that's the impression that I got.
She's saying you should do it in parallel because it's your best chance.
Say that one more time?
She's saying you should do it in parallel while you're chasing the degree because it's your best opportunity.
Yeah, it's like vice. It's like you have the best chance of success
Again, that's
doing it
that's
when you're younger.
true, and I'm not arguing that. It's I don't know. Maybe I need to watch it again, but I didn't. It didn't seem really like that. It didn't. It seemed more like a you better do it by this date or it's not gonna happen. And I'm kind of being I don't want to say disingenuous.
It's reductive. I mean, because she's
It's a
laying out
different
like
message
she.
to send, though. It's different. It's different to say it's better to do it by this date versus saying if you don't do it by this date, it's not going to happen at all. And again, that's not what she was saying exactly, but that was kind of the underlying tone that I got from watching that. And why I
Yeah,
think there's some pushback.
I think they would argue. That's actually valid. I think if at the end of the day, it's a tone of something, does have some relevance to like what people will think when it's after it's conveyed. I was gonna say I think they would obviously push back, and if you watch this interview with her and this young lady, I think she does kind of push back on that notion that she's not saying one way or another. She's just saying like this is the probability of something happening. But at the end of the day, kind of going to what I was really saying, maybe it's not even productive for us to. It's not like we have a huge female audience who cares about what we have to say. So it's fine. I guess more sticking with the point that a male could weigh in on. You were just recently most recently in school out of all of us. Do you think if a young lady was pursuing you, or they were pursuing you their degree, and I guess while you were as well, do you think that would have been the most optimal strat? And do you think a young male is going to be keen on following the same path?
I just want to say that I don't think that's true. I think one of y'all might have been in school later than me. But besides the point.
Oh, Wes was. Yeah, you're right. My apologies. I guess out of all of us speaking currently here, my apologies.
To answer your question, so what are you asking about? If it's the best strat to go about it like that, or just
Yeah, because of effectively what they're saying, and again, I'm just trying to interpret it to the letter of what they said. For young women in college, if they want to be married and have a family, they need to chase the ring and the degree in parallel in tandem.
Oh, I see.
So, in order to do that, I mean, and I guess you could argue maybe she's not necessarily limiting it to people to men in college. You could go for guys that already done college, but let's say a woman wants to be with somebody that's in her specific age group, her specific, peer group, circles, whatever you want to, are going to be aligned with that.
I don't think so.
Dudes in college?
I think.
Yeah, essentially.
I'm just trying to think, like, generally speaking, because I think women think like that more so than men. But do dudes really?
Well, maybe they won't be looking at it from like I have a time clock to get this done. But I mean, at the end of the day,
I think
women and men need each other to get to that goal.
Yeah, like I'm just thinking of like the general mindset that no, I would say no, because nowadays, like the whole college experience, well, I would like particularly for young dudes just getting into college, it's all about sleeping with as many different women as you can. But a lot of the times, it's like college is the time to have fun and essentially do what you want. So
Debauchery, deviancy.
Yeah, and it's kind of like a environment where there's no judgment for you to do that, and then after you're established and you are a career, then that's when you find a wife. So I'd say no, that most students do not abide by that philosophy.
And I think it's both sides. Both
don't really do it right now.
Yeah, especially more recently. I mean, I think women are more inclined to try to find a husband.
Even if, sorry, go ahead. Sorry.
I was more inclined to find a husband in college than dudes are, but a lot of women are don't hold that mindset now.
Yeah, that's kind of the point to what she was saying. Like, if women don't have that mindset, um, it's hurting
Yeah,
them.
they don't have the same luxury that men do when it comes to that, so they kind of.
You know, it's actually, and I'll let you go, Ace, if you have any other thoughts on that. Do you think men are like advice to women, but she's saying, hey, you need to start looking or be on this path earlier, sooner than later. But do you think that's optimal based off where men are at that age?
I don't know. I mean,
And you
I feel
you can use yourself as an example, but also like some of the people that you knew while you were in college.
yeah, exactly. I mean, if it was me, 100%, I would have been open to it. Like open to a woman that wanted to pursue a relationship specifically, with the goal of marriage. Um,
And
but
kids, don't forget the kids.
yeah, and kids, yep. Um, for other dudes, I mean, I don't know. I like on the one hand, I can kind of understand what you're saying about dudes not necessarily being in the mindset of trying to settle down immediately, but at the same time, if you have a woman pursuing you that wants to do it, I don't necessarily see a majority of guys just eschewing them because um they want to, like, their goal is to get married and have kids relatively soon. I don't see it. I don't see dudes breaking off relationship or not pursuing a relationship because of that, especially if they're in college and they're working towards trying to um like pursue a lucrative career or whatever. You're on the path of trying to better
Most people
yourself in your
don't.
situation.
I guess everybody pursuing, but most people don't achieve a little super lucrative career.
That's true. That's true.
And it's just interesting because I don't know if this is y'all experience or what the average is, but I knew a lot of people, like, and I'm talking from like the younger end to even the like, or especially on the more grown end, of people that were in college that had significant others while they were there. I don't know if they were thinking about it like, hey, like, we need to eventually get married and have kids, but it's like people had somebody they were talking to and on a consistent basis. Like I seen a lot of that.
Yeah. People definitely had that, but like you said, I don't know how many of them were planning to get married and have kids, like, or if it was not something they were actually talking about yet.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I do know my fair share of people who were in college, met in college, whatever, and got married. So
Yeah, that's like, I mean, we actually looked at the data and
Oh,
how
yeah.
like over time it's skewed to where more people are meeting online, but there was still a decent majority of people that they meet through school and or work. It's still very, very common.
Yeah.
But I digress. Ultimately, yeah, I hope. This happened a few 2 weeks ago at this point, so I think the women have made their rounds and they went to this conversation. It's either you don't advocate with them for this statements or do, but I think it's definitely a conversation that is worth having, I suppose. And also, no, I don't think they spoke about it directly in that video. I don't know if it's the standard version of that video or in this part of the video. I'm just gonna say this real brief because I don't want to make this whole thing, but like, very notably, they were speaking to young black and brown women, and the reason why it's important to point that out is because, and kind of to what I was speaking in my mind, when I was thinking about the people in my mind that were in relationships, that were more in that basket. So like other cultures, when they're in college, they do this dance just fine of like, they're in school, they have a relationship. Once they get out, they get married and they start their life. I think it's something in our culture where we have to have these conversations. And even like on a larger scale, you guys are going to make me get on a rant. A lot of these conversations about dating, they really don't even happen amongst like white people, Asian people. Hispanic people. But for some reason, in the culture that we love so much, these conversations about what you got to do when you're young, what you got to do dating, what's the stress, how you get a lot of women, how you get the right man. It seems like it's, and you gotta correct me if I'm wrong, but it seems like it's our culture type of thing. Very, very strange. What
I have seen it. I mean, I'll just say white people. I've seen white YouTubers or whatever discuss things like this. So I do think it is a conversation to some extent, but
fair enough. Yeah. I don't think there's too much more to say on that. And we got a whole playlist of records to go through, so I'm not gonna hold this up too much longer. Although it's only, I don't know if anyone even knows. It's not super late relative to where we are at this time. But anyway, yeah. Salute to black women in college. I hope all women do find their partner in life and work towards that, if that's what they want. And at least be aware of the fact that, this is what it is. One last thing. It is kind of interesting how the one thing you could have caught Eboni K. Williams on, because again, we're having a conversation about like are young quote unquote black males in college even interested in that process. You heard what she said in the beginning, right? Black men get better as we age. So if a young black male is hearing this, wouldn't they interpret that as like, hell no, I'm not gonna focus or settle down while I'm young. I'm gonna wait till I'm at that prime seasoned steak era.
Yeah. There is definitely more to this conversation. There's definitely
seemed like they attacked her for the wrong thing, but we don't have all night to discuss that. It's just interesting that I just found that interesting. Anyway, if y'all have nothing else, then we can move on to not the next joint, because that's all topics. Hopefully, we didn't miss anything or leave anything out. But I guess just in case we did, does anyone have anything to get off their heart or their chest? Not just about topics, but anything recently. I actually do. Oh man, we got to rest in power.
I don't have anything.
I probably should have. Wait, I did pull it up, didn't I? Oh shoot! I actually don't really feel bad on the live streams because ultimately, dang, do people see that? Whoops! Don't look at that. Exposed. I probably should just do this in the chat. Where is it? There we go. Wait, how do I? When I'm doing stuff on Discord, I should probably go to here. Yeah, let's do that. Bear with us. I actually have a quick story to go through too. So let me put that there. Wait, no, that didn't work. Okay. Put this here. Wait, what is this? Is this the link? If you want something done right. There we go. All right. Sorry for that. Pull it up when you have a second, Ace. Go back here. Go back here. And then we'll go here. Yes. Oops, that needs to be full screen now. I mean, we don't care. We don't care, but. So, man. Rest in power. although I admittedly didn't know this brother's full name. Steve Harwell, former lead singer of Smash Mouth, dies at 56. Do they know the on the Rolling Stones reports that he passed away peacefully. Smash Mouth for 2 years. The band continued to tour. Vocalist. Oh, they got a new vocalist. So they do music worldwide. Yes, Smash Mouth. We all know them. I mean, we all know like the Hey. Stop coming. Oh no, even this one's even more of a classic. What else they got? They got other bangers. I don't know. What? They don't what's the other banger? Oh yeah, obviously the Hey Now You're an All-Star. So yeah, just a quick rest in power. Super classics that they've produced. And that sucks. Man, all the legends are dying. Anyway. So yeah. Rest in power again. Now. Quick rant. Not rant, but just something to get off my chest. So like I said, also been absent for a few weeks, months, I don't know. It's been a while. And on my absence, I've done just a tad bit of traveling. I think I mentioned this. I think I mentioned this, and it happened. So yeah, I just want to say that. But in my travels, I realized a couple things. One, they're absolutely positively right. A wise man and a man well traveled are damn near one and the same. Oh, but yeah.
What are we talking? What?
Well, if you look at our comments, you would see. Yeah, 56. I wouldn't be surprised. But anyway.
Oh, Jesus Christ, bro! You're talking about traveling, and then I hear you talk about. I didn't realize you.
Hey, man, when you're doing a live stream, you gotta be able to, you know. Sorry, but I do apologize. Anyway, a wise man and a man well traveled are very synonymous. So traveling is good. I can understand why people love it. But in the same breath, with F, traveling sucks. It's a one fast track marathon of getting sick, and that sucks.
Okay.
That's it.
I mean, wear a mask.
No, the mask ain't gonna help. The mask is gonna help you when you're around a bunch of random stoners. The thing about traveling, it completely screws up your cycle. You're at home. You have a routine. You get up at a certain time. You eat breakfast. You be eating your supplements. You be doing your workouts. You do all this, and then all it takes is one little trip, and you're doing stuff outside your norm. You're eating stuff outside your norm. You're going to sleep at different times. And yes, the being around different people does have an aspect, but it just screws up your sense of like where things are in life.
Gotcha. That makes sense.
So yeah, just wanted to get that on my chest. Yeah. But speaking of, but again, I will continue to do it. Again, I don't know if I said this on record, but it's one of my goals to travel to every major city in the States. And of course, there are places abroad that I want to go to, but that's also one of my goals. That's something I'm looking forward to. Speaking of looking forward to, what, if anything, do we have looking forward to in the near or distant future? You know what they say about having something looking forward to?
Concert this week. Going to see a band named Holy Fawn.
You stay at a concert, don't you, these days, huh?
Yeah, I got a few scheduled before the end of the year now, which I'm gonna be posting to our Discord.
Nice.
Yep.
I do need to talk to y'all about Discord later. I do need to talk to y'all. Thanks for reminding me.
But yeah, I won't give any spoilers as to the band sound because Ghost is potentially going and wants to go in blind, which is one thing I've never thought of getting spoiled, but whatever.
I definitely wouldn't go in blind to a concert that like I was going to myself because I vet every artist. But if it gets the cosign, then I think it'll be interesting to not know anything about this artist. And
yeah, that's a good idea.
Yeah, I mean, I enjoy going to shows with you. So hopefully, you said it's this week, like this week. Ooh.
Yes, sir. Wednesday.
I'll see where I'm at, but if Ghost is going, maybe I'll feel comfortable in that. Anyway, what about you, Ghost?
that concert, I guess. NBA season started.
Yes, very true. You do need to.
I guess there's not much to look forward to if you're a Bulls fan. But
First of all, I have a lot of sports talk. I have a lot of sports stuff to talk to you about, but this is our year.
bro, what? The Bulls might be in literally the worst spot. Like y'all not gonna be the worst team in the league, but y'all got nothing to play for.
I'm just talking. But yeah, real quick, yeah, go back to you want to ask that comment. Yeah, I yes, you do have to. The concerts that you, or so far that I've experienced, that you like going to Ace are enjoyable. Not too many stoners, not too much craziness. Although you wanted to see more energy at the last one, so I'm not sure. Anyway,
this is random, Ace. But did you ever go to that Tool concert?
First, Tool was performing where?
No, I've never seen Tool. They're actually performing in November, and I'm extremely tempted to go see them this time.
Where are they performing at? This is kind of getting maybe no. Actually, don't. We'll talk about that. And I also do want to talk about that because didn't you have a chance to see them once upon a time, and that led to one of the.
That's why I was asking because I don't know if you ever went or you.
I don't. Yeah, that's crazy that I didn't follow.
You definitely bought tickets. Like I remember you mentioning that, but
yeah, that was one of the first like kind of podcast conversations we had. I don't know if you remember that conversation. Ace.
So.
No, not really. But there is a story behind that whole thing.
Yeah, damn, we have a lot of conversations in the past and to have. And yes, salutes / poor Lonzo. Anyway, let's focus. I myself, what am I looking forward to? To be honest, just getting back. I'm already pretty much. It doesn't take me long to get back to my daily routines and stuff. I am, of course, starting a new. Did I mention on the podcast? Starting a new. I'm gonna be busy. I'm starting some new business endeavors, so it's gonna be busy. But I still want to. Maybe we can mute up when we're sneezing. I still want to focus on the podcast, which I've been able to like make sure the things get edited and put out. So I'm not really too pressed about it. I'm just giving my general looking forward to. Is that this week? Is it 16th? No, that's in 2 weeks or something like that. Yeah. Besides that, I don't know. Just been kind of enjoying spending time with y'all since in a moment of transparency. Now I'm one less homeboy. Anyway, y'all jokes aside, yeah. And one more time, salute to Wes. We'll still have him in the loop of things. But I digress. If there's nothing else, I have to say a super thanks and salute to y'all for coming out here and doing this podcast thing. And not super, but it's always corny when you salute your homeboys, but just like you guys really been helpful with this thing and just like getting some helping me make sure things are figured out and making sure it's we're doing this even though we're still like there's a bunch of don't knows doing stuff. So I don't know. It just feels like you guys have my back and we're all in line with doing it. So I'm super appreciative of that. And we are all here super appreciative of any and all listeners. We don't take that for granted. The fact that anybody would even, who are you crazy staying up and listening to some random stoners? But that's super appreciative. Or if you listen to like afterwards once we split it up or put timestamps, that's super crazy that anybody would take the time. But we're super appreciative, and we're gonna keep doing it, and we're gonna keep trying to get better. And I think I mentioned before, we're gonna try to implement some new things. If you've watched our first episode, we have a challenge coming up in the near future. We have some live podcasts coming up in the near future. Not no hot chip challenge. Again, rest in part of that young brother. But we have some interesting things coming up by the end of this year. So look forward to that. And we hope by listening to this podcast, you might have gained a perspective or learned something new. Like, I guess, again, please be careful if you're going to try any hot challenge soup chip things because people are dying. Or we just hope that you found this entertaining. But if none of that happened to you, then all we have to say to you is be warmed and be filled. Thank you. So, stop recording. And yeah, nice successful stream. Yeah, I guess we're gonna end the stream now. Hanging around with us, that's crazy. And yeah, again, we're here every week. We're here all week. No, we're not, but okay.